All right, let's talk about something we all know. That weird, kind of antsy feeling we get the second things go quiet, and why our first instinct is to fill that empty space. We're going to break down why that discomfort happens, and, maybe more importantly, how we can start to get used to the quiet again.
You know the exact moment I'm talking about? You're waiting for an elevator, standing in line for coffee, maybe you just sat down for a second. There's this tiny pause in the day's noise, and before you even think about it, your hand is already grabbing your phone. It's like muscle memory, right?
Yep, that's the trigger. The instant things get quiet. And listen, if you're nodding along right now, you are definitely not alone. The key thing to get here is that this isn't a lack of discipline. It's not you having a short attention span. It's a conditioned response, a habit our brains have learned from living in a world that, well, just never shuts up.
So, what is it about silence that makes us squirm? Why does it feel so, well, just uncomfortable? Let's dig into what's really going on in our heads when all that external noise suddenly disappears. Okay, first things first, and this is super important. You're not broken. This feeling is just your brain doing what it's designed to do, adapt. And it has adapted perfectly to our modern world, which is just a nonstop fire hose of information, music, podcasts, and notifications. So think about it like this. On one side, you've got constant stimulation. That's become our normal, our baseline. But then, poof, it's gone. You get sudden silence. And your brain doesn't just chill out. No way. It kind of panics. It feels jarring. And all of a sudden, your own internal thoughts feel like they're being screamed through a megaphone. And get this shows you just how far we'll go to avoid that feeling. A study from the University of Virginia found something wild. When people were left alone in a room with nothing but their own thoughts, it was so unpleasant that many of them chose to give themselves mild electric shocks instead. I mean, think about that. They literally preferred physical pain to being alone in their own head.
And there's another piece to this puzzle. Research out of Harvard found that our brains have learned a simple equation. When my mind wanders, I tend to feel less happy. So that reflex to grab your phone, it's not just boredom. It's your brain trying to protect you from that potential dip in your mood.
All right, so we get it. Silence feels weird. We're pretty much wired to avoid it. But what if we've been thinking about this whole thing backwards? Let's talk about how to reframe silence not as empty, wasted time, but as an incredibly powerful tool.
This is the first and maybe the biggest mental shift you got to make. We tend to see silence as a vacuum, right? An emptiness that we absolutely have to fill with something. But that's just not what it is. It's not empty at all. In fact, silence does the exact opposite. It filters. It's kind of like a strainer for your brain. All the noise, the demands, the chaos of the day, it sifts all that stuff out. And what you're left with? Well, that's the important stuff.
Now, I know that can sound a little intimidating, but this change in mindset is everything. Silence isn't some scary confrontation with your inner critic. Think of it more like finally having that quiet conversation with yourself that you keep putting off because, life is just too loud.
Okay, so how do we actually start doing this in the real world? And look, this is not about forcing yourself to sit on a meditation cushion for half an hour. No way. This is about being gentle and just making a little bit of space for quiet to come back into your life.
Here's a super simple 4-step plan. 1, start small. I mean, ridiculously small. Like 2 minutes. That's it. 2, don't expect to feel calm. It's going to feel restless at first, and that is totally fine. 3, try swapping noise instead of just removing it. So on your next walk, maybe ditch the podcast and just listen to your footsteps. And 4, this one's a big one. Let it be imperfect. You're not trying to become a Zen master. You're just trying to stop running away from the quiet.
All right, now this next part might be the most powerful trick in the entire playbook. Just try to become aware of that feeling right before you react. That little twitch you feel, that urge to grab your phone and fill the space. What does that actually feel like in your body? And the trick is, you don't have to fight it. You don't have to resist it. Just see it. Pause for a single second and acknowledge it's there without any judgment. That tiny moment of awareness, that is everything. That's where the change really starts. And once you start doing that, you begin to realize something pretty profound. Those quiet moments we've been avoiding our whole lives, turns out they're the very spaces we need to find some clarity, to heal. So let's recap why this is so hard.
It's a powerful one-two punch. First, the silence itself just feels foreign to our overstimulated brains. And second, at the very same moment, it takes away our favorite escape hatch, our devices. It's that brutal combination that creates all the discomfort. Which brings us right back to the core idea of this whole explainer. That antsy, uncomfortable feeling, it isn't a sign that silence is a void. It's a sign that it's full. It's full of all the thoughts and feelings and ideas that we normally use noise to drown out. And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. We don't have to fill every single second of our lives. Silence isn't a problem to be fixed. It's a space, a necessary one. It's where the world quiets down enough for things to finally start making sense again. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time you find yourself in one of those quiet moments and you feel that familiar pull to fill it, what will you reach for? Will it be your phone? Or could it just be a single quiet breath?